Go ahead and get started if you will and you can and able. Will you stand and join us in prayer and pledge allegiance, please? Heavenly Father, dear Lord, thank you for another wonderful day, Lord. Thank you for watching over us and keeping us this day, Lord God. And we just pray that you watch over us and lead us and guide this board, water and sanitation board, and give us the wisdom we need tonight, Lord, to make good decisions. And we pray your hedge of protection around our utility workers, Lord, and keep them in this heat and safe. And Lord, we just want to continue to lift you up and praise you and give you all the praise and glory for the many blessings that you bring in Martin County. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'd like to call the Martin County Water District meeting to order. Board members, you received your board packets. Now I'd like to do a review and consideration to approve the meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Review and consideration of financial reports. Todd?
Alrighty, so 4A1, current total cash on hand of $236,745.74. Total current assets of $700,688.11. Net property, plant, and equipment of $18,296,844.22. Total restricted cash of $90,751.03, which brings your total assets to $19,088,283.36. On 4A2, return total current liabilities of $757,665.55. Total long-term debt of $2,625,919.18. Brings your total liabilities to $3,383,584.73. Total district's equity of $15,704,698.63, which then brings the total liability of the district's equity to $19,088,283.36. 4A3, under operating revenue, you can see the revenue for this, for the month of May was up about $5,000 from what was budgeted, so about, a little over 3% increase. And under operating expenses, you can see that your expenses look low, and that is because under the repair and maintenance line item, that's $74,500 is a credit. The rest is because the Xylem invoices was marked as a liability in December of '24. So because it was marked as a liability on this line item, when they paid those invoices, that credit came back to this line item.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So really, your operating expenses was $206,849 if you take that out of the picture, which means you were $39,000 under your budget for expenses for the month.
Yeah.
4A4 is your treasury report. Gallons billed to 14,050,300 gallons. Total billing charges of $262,919.32, and we billed 3,319 customers. End of the month receivables of $352,234.78, and under the end of month balance of $115,827.86, and leaves an available balance after everything of $67,079.11. 4A6, again, your beginning total cash investments of $339,834.94, deposits of $1,084,510.57, interest and fees of $178.88, payments of $1,097,360.62, bringing your ending balance of $372,263.77.
And those payments and the influx of deposits and payments is all around the meters?
Most of it, yes.
Yes, okay. Okay, do I have a motion to approve, of consideration to approve treasurer's report?
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Review and consideration to approve other financials?
Okay, 4B1 shows for May 25, the revenue of 231,204, a year-to-date total of 1,142,105 gallons. You compare that to the last year at the same month, it's a 4% increase, or a 7% increase from what was billed this month for that month last year, and a 3% increase from what was billed last month. 4B2 shows your, the financial, the debt to AWR, four B three. That four B three does note that does not include the $35,000 diesel credit, or enters also a $22,000 that's included in this for the meter project that will come off that. And any of the payments you make tonight would also come off that.
Okay. Okay, review and consideration to approve other financials? Have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Review and consideration to approve bills?
Yeah. 5.1, as you can see on that, it does show the $35,000 credit. That will actually, you'll see that on your June cycles, but the credit is showing there. Consolidated pipelines 26 to 28. The money is that'll be paid out of the meter project. And Buchanan pump, and most of these that are coming out of the JBO will be items that are recovered during the FEMA projects. There are parts and supplies that need to require those.
Okay, and later in the meeting, we're gonna get an update on that?
Well, the best I got, cause I don't, it ain't great, but yeah.
Okay.
And 37 is Boca Enterprises, that's for the Sister Branch relocation project. That money was funded by, Department of Transportation, so not funding that was coming out of the district.
Right. Okay, do I have a motion to, approve bills?
I'll make a motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Go again.
Aye.
Brian, legal?
Not anything pressing to report, Tim, just to update the board. Most of my time with the water district since our last meeting is spent reviewing documents, and there's a lot going on. So most of my time is spent reviewing different documents and doing some legal research on the Fletcher issue, the 292 project, the Fahey documents, and the other projects we've got going on. Other than that, there's really nothing new to add.
Okay, thank you, Brian. All right, operations,
Yeah, 7A1, water to distribution averages for April is 1.3 million, daily, it's currently still averaging 1.3. The existing 700 horsepower VFD, we went out and troubleshooted that, and we got that where all alarms are off and codes are erased, and we checked that for, everything we could without the motor there to test it, and so far, we're hopeful that will,
now, for clarity for the board members, what he's talking about is the VFD that was installed, early on. It's not the replacement VFD, the 700 horsepower VFD, so this is the original. So if we get this one working, then the other one can be sent back for credit. Okay, so, yeah, just want to clarify that.
as far as hauling sludge at the water plant, we hauled 7 loads, changed the oil in both high service pumps. We cleared the spillway brush and worked on the road at the reservoir. Installed a new chemical feed pump for the Delpac. Under distribution, leak detection identified 15 new leaks. Fixed a total of 22 leaks, estimated at 4.4 million gallons. We installed a new check valve in Buffalo Horn Pump Station. At Honey Branch Pump Station, which is for the prison up there, we installed a new 6-inch gate valve, and we rebuilt the control valve with the help of Prestonsburg Utilities. We had some bad valves up there that wasn't, when we had all these breaks up there, we weren't able to get all the water shut off, so that's the reason we replaced those. 8-inch clay valve at 40 East Pump Station, cleaned the basket strainer and new disc. Replaced the big elk transducer and installed 3 new taps. 7A2 is your graph for your treated water to distribution. 7A3 is your water pump report. Nothing to make note of there. Out of the ordinary. 7A4, customer service requests and work orders. And 7A5 is your water main and service line break list. Total gallons lost estimated is 4,409,154.
I have a question about these on New Route 3. I wonder if they're all, it's often that we see these that are identical. Are these just estimates when you calculate these?
Yeah, but I mean, according to the line size and the break itself, there's a calculation for us to use.
Okay, because I just, 2 days later, it was the same leak, it
Yeah.
was the same exact amount.
Yeah, there's a formula that we use to be able to estimate, gallons lost. The other option is be able to, get tank drops and try to estimate that way too. It's just depending on the leak and.
So there was, that was like 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 leaks on Honey Branch, so that
Yeah.
prevented us from selling or?
No, we got them shut off in a pretty fair amount of time. We still gotta check for, 30?
We've not got it yet, but the check that we're gonna get for this last month of dumping is a little over 30,000.
So it didn't impact us too much.
No. And that was due to us being able to get up there quick. I mean, we obviously lost a lot of water up there. We had to spend a lot of money
But
to,
the root
for the
cause,
repairs, but.
the root cause of the leaks is improper bedding.
Yeah.
That's the root cause.
I believe we talked about this the last board meeting, but you weren't here for the last board meeting.
So is there a cure for that?
There is a cure, but it's really expensive. The cure is you gotta replace the pipe, right?
But
The
it
line.
was,
The right answer is trust me, the engineers that work for us now have gotten this message. It's their responsibility to make sure that they do the due diligence on the ground, that the contractor that puts the pipe in the ground has met the spec requirements. And if it's not, then it's on them, so, yeah, it's, something that apparently was not done correctly in the past, and it's remedied.
Yeah, we've had a lot of leaks up in that area. Maybe, what was that, 7?
9 since April.
9 since April. Yeah,
At about $2,000 a pop
yeah, to repair.
to fix the leak.
so we're just gonna have to keep doing this forever until,
I mean, or when you get to the point where you relay the line, I mean, most of the time, temperature change, ground shifting is what's gonna cause a lot of the bedding issues to come out. Cause if you got bad bedding, when, your pipe shifts because of the temperature, it's gonna hit those cracks and the sharp points in those rocks, so, I mean, hopefully we shouldn't see a lot of that moving forward until the next weather shift.
And when you run the numbers on, put my engineering hat on, when you run the numbers, say you have a mile pipe, and say it's black iron pipe, you'd be amazed at it, say a 10-degree temperature differential, how much a mile pipe grows. It's just amazing. I mean, I'm talking feet, not inches. It's unbelievable. But anyway, okay, thank you, Colby.
7A7, under repairs, we're not sitting very pretty there. We're sitting at $87,064 out of the $100,000, bringing us to 87% through the end of April. And under chemicals, $32,866 out of the $110,000, bringing us to 30% for the
Yeah.
chemicals in April.
I wanna stop there for a second because and I'm not gonna ask you to answer this question tonight, but our next meeting, I need to answer this question. Right now, you know, for example, we're at 99% on our vehicle maintenance, we're 100% on our water plant maintenance, and we're at 118% on our distribution system maintenance, and we're not even 50% in a year, right? So I'm gonna ask you to sit down and look at this, expenses, repair expenses, and come back to us with, you know, we need to have a plan on how, you know, how we're gonna go about addressing this, because at the rate we're going, we're gonna end up, at least $100,000, if not $150,000 over budget at the rate we're going, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll work on something, put something together, but the best answer for that is, once the FEMA money comes in, you deposit it into your maintenance account, and we start paying all expenses out of that.
And how much was, that was only 70,000, right?
Well, 70,000 is the category B, the other ones, like, you know, some of the work we've already completed on some of the line breaks, like on, Yellow Creek and, I can't remember a couple of the other locations, but those were 85% refundable, and that's expenses we've already incurred.
Right, but the Plan B stuff should be paid soon, and this other stuff is lingering.
It's all, they're all sitting in the same approval basket right now. When we get into that, I'll talk to you, but basically, the FEMA called me today and said that they changed our program manager. He went to work for a different person, and she was trying to play catch up, so that's gonna delay everything on getting funding or getting those released, because she said once they get approved in this stage, they'll come back to her for approval, final approval, and then they'll send it to me, and as long as I'm in agreement, they'll send it for payment.
Right, okay.
I don't know how, she said she acted like it, because of the holiday next week, it wouldn't happen next week, but she said the hospital the following week.
Okay,
I know you said previously that there would be some insurance money. Did we ever get that, and so how much? I don't know what
The insurance is not paid out yet, they're still reviewing all the, information we sent them, including the estimates and the expenses that we submitted, showing we spent today.
To give you any idea how much they might reimburse?
Not to this point, but the big thing on insurance is, remember, is the $100,000 deductible that has to be met.
okay, well, probably would behoove somebody, I don't have time to do it, but somebody needs to look at that policy and look at the timeline that the insurance company has to respond. They can't take forever, that policy has to have a timeline to respond, I would think.
I can do that, I'll pull it up and make sure that I have dates and everything to report back.
Yeah, and well, and more importantly, go to the insurance company, once you see the timeline and figure out the timeline, go back to the insurance company and say, according to our terms of policy, you have to provide us a definition of a payment and be paid by this time.
Where do we get a copy of that insurance policy?
I've emailed it out to you before, but I
Yeah.
can resend it.
I
Yeah.
can try to find it, but if you resend it, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, Vernon, if you'll take a look at it, just,
I will, when you send it, Todd, I'll take a look.
yeah, just make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and the timeline for which they're supposed to be doing it. Okay. All right, but, I feel a little better knowing that FEMA money's gonna go back into the repair expense account, cause without that, we would be in trouble.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, moving on.
Yeah, 7A8, 7A9, 7A10 are your, monthly note transactions of those accounts. And 7B, is your monthly operating report. Everything's within standards and regulations there, nothing in particular to note on that.
Well, one thing I did notice I wanna ask about, and that's, sanitation-based effluent number 2. Those numbers are a lot higher than what they've been in the past, right?
On the sewer side?
No, he's talking about the.
No, I'm talking about on the.
Oh,
water
settlement
side.
basin number 2.
Yes,
I got you, yeah, that's the
Those
one
numbers
with
are
the
way
red
higher,
barn
right?
down. Yeah.
So you're talking about your community numbers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're starting to creep back up, we are, he called and talked with the, company that's gonna do the clarifier repairs, and they had got they received preparing for shipment confirmation from the vendor that's overseas, but they didn't give them a date.
So in the interim, do we have a pump, or
Yeah.
or can we make a more conscious effort of trying to get this turbidity down?
We will, we did have a pump in there, and we got it right down a little bit, and then it started creeping back up, and they should have pumped it, we'll make sure it gets done.
Okay. Yeah, cause I start seeing numbers like this is out of whack.
Right, you know, we've got the flow lower during, you know, in that unit, trying to remove the sludge manually as best we can out of it, but, you know, we may end up having to get a crane in there and pull the weirs out and actually, you know, get down in the basin to do that, which will be part of, you know, when they come in to do the bearing replacement anyway, so we may have to go forward with that, if that still keeps coming up.
Okay. The good news is our effluent looks good, overall.
Yeah.
That's the good news, it's just that clarifier two is,
It's having to work really hard.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
the filter media is not the best either, but it is
You
catching.
know, the top of the filter number you're seeing, that's before it hits any of the main treatment process, so, I mean, those filters are just having to work hard.
that's right.
We're having to backwash a lot more, I mean, our effluent quality is still as good as it was.
Right.
It's just those filters are working hard.
Yeah. That's carbon filters, right?
Rapid said field, you know, yes.
Okay. 7Cs, that's all your trial methane, for quarter two. HAA trial methane numbers are running average for quarter two, was within the regulation. And for our trial methane, our, high site was 0.068 running average, and our, other site was 0.062 running average. And I also included the lab results here along with that. 7D is your water loss report, coming in at 51.49%.
That number is actually 51.3. I had to update the sheet before we printed this, and sent this out, it's 51.3.
That's a good number, I mean, that's
That's a really good number.
and it's, you know, we're headed in the right direction. I'm hopeful that in the July report, we'll see the full impact of everything that's done.
We still won't see the full impact because of meters, I mean, we still have some of the commercial meters, which could make a big impact, but we're still waiting on equipment for them, so.
But that's 4 meters out of 3,600 or
It's 7 meters.
7, okay?
Yeah, well, they're 2 inches larger, so they can have your biggest impact.
But when we get to that, we'll talk about the schedule for those, cause I mean, we've been waiting on these parts for a month.
Yeah, we tried to get an update on them this week, and we got the same answer from them, because they're on order, they'll be here.
Okay. That's good.
Okay, 7E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 10 of them. 7E, 1 through 10 is your leak adjustments.
Swimming pools were good out there.
Yeah, I've seen that. So can I get a motion to approve the leak adjustments?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Capital projects report?
Yeah, so 8B1, this is, and 8B2, this is the new CIP that, Tim had distributed through y'all through email a couple weeks ago, after we sat down and prioritized everything. So I'll go through the list and ones that are active and try to give an update on them. So we have a meeting tomorrow with Bill to discuss several of these on the top, the 292, cold water, Olive Brown, those are all being discussed tomorrow, because those are deliverables that we're already supposed to, we was already supposed to have, and telemetry project. We are still waiting on Microcom to provide us the correct check valves to go in the station. They shipped some that was incorrect. There's some emails going back and forth yesterday about getting those in. And they gotta be back on site to find the right pathway to get it back to the plant. And I think they're looking at early July to get back on site for that. The meter project, like I said, we got just this few meters left to go. They're the 3-inch, 4-inch, a couple 2 inches that were not the right length. And the larger ones needed some register heads. When they shipped them, they didn't come with the ability to attach to nodes. The register head, they originally told us a year and freaked us out. So when they came back and said that they was looking at 90 days, and that was about 40 days ago. So they're telling us now about 4 weeks, hopefully, we should start seeing them come in.
So you plan to do that work with the crew that you have here and not from your outside crew? The outside crew's done?
Yes.
Okay.
We won't be bringing anybody in for that project.
Okay.
So the meters they're looking for are the larger meters,
Yeah.
is that like our schools and?
Yeah, well, one of them is the apartment complex, which one is it?
There's a 4-inch at
Dempsey complex, and a couple of 2-inch meters, or some of the downtown businesses that just haven't been, that wouldn't fit in the centers and stuff up in the ground. I can get a list of them, bring them back to the next meeting. I didn't have them.
Okay. All right, and some of these we'll get into, a little bit more, in the meeting as well, but, a lot of these, for example, the FEMA backup generators, the Otto Brown, cold water line, Route 40 East. We're owed designs on those that we haven't seen yet, and those dates have come and gone from Bell Engineering, so, like Todd said, we have that meeting tomorrow with them, we'll hammer that out, at that time. All right. Any questions on, capital projects? Now, just for the board members, when you look at priority rankings, 1, 2, 3, 4, those 4 are what's going in the Kentucky Waters applications. We can, as a board, do more than just 4.
Well, that's what I was.
We can do more than 4. We have to pay for it, obviously. Not at this meeting, but our next meeting, I'll talk to the board about, but be thinking about what ones you would wanna add. Maybe you wanna add 5 and 6. I mean, you could say, well, add them all, but the thing is realistically, what can we apply for and get too, right? So keep that in mind and be looking at it, thinking about it, and I'll go a little deeper into FAHE and contracts when we get to that part of the agenda. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to other old business. The first item on the list is generator funding update. And for those of you that aren't aware, the fiscal court asked us to send them an invoice, for which we did, and they're gonna then transfer that money over to our account. That invoice was minus the interest that the fiscal court had paid the first payment. And so then that will come over, and then we'll put that in our account, and we'll pay for the bills out of our account.
We received a check from them today.
Oh, you did?
So
Okay.
we'll get it deposited tomorrow.
Okay, good. But again, on that, Bell Engineering knows us that design, and I'll share that design with the board. Probably what I'll do is I'll mark it up in PDF, and I'll share my comments and markups with the board members so you can all see it, what the design is and what the comments are. Feel free to look at it and get back to me if you have any questions or concerns. Obviously we've gotta get that, but the driver for that is, from a schedule perspective, is obviously we wanna have those in place and functional going into this winter. I mean, that's, to me, is an important piece, cause if you recall last winter, we brought in generators to get us through some tough storms. Okay. The master plan funding, Fahi is now, the contracts were executed for that, or the contract was executed for that. They are pulling, everything they need together for that, for the $200,000 ARC money, which is the final application, as I understand it. And that'll be a process, and if I remember right, Colby, they said it'd be September before we heard on that final application. Does that sound right to you? Yeah. So that's a September timeline for that. Now and also another email come across, Fahi, we did reach out to DLG, and DLG did come back in an email and said that we cannot spend that $50,000 of seed money until the final application is approved. So there's that Thrive $50,000 grant, we have to wait to spend that. So we'll just wait until everything's done and approved, and we'll get started on that as well. Master meter delivery construction schedule, Todd touched on that already. Is there any questions on that? Raw water intake project update and lawsuit status. I'll touch on the status of the lawsuit first, and then Todd, you can update us on the raw water intake piece of it. As the board members know, the letter was sent to Big Sandy Ad laying out path forward and a calendar for that. They had until June 18th to respond to the letter. They reached out to us on that Wednesday, the 18th, and asked if they could get back to us on Friday. They called on Friday and said that they were still working on it, still trying to gather information. And per our letter, they had till June the 30th to have an executive meeting to try to work it out. And if they didn't meet with us by June the 30th to work it out, or respond to us by June the 18th, then Stites and Harbison was going to file a complaint. And where it sits right now is our attorney, Bill Geisen, sent their attorney, Jonathan Shaw, an email that basically said, are we going to meet on or before June the 30th? If not, we'll file our complaint. And that's where it sits today. So that's still a work in progress. I'm prayerful that we can sit down and in one day work it out. I think it's a fairly simplistic issue to work out, but we'll see. So Todd, do you want to?
Monday, right?
Excuse me?
30th is Monday?
It is.
Kind of Monday, yeah.
It is. Todd, do you want to update us on the raw water intake project?
Okay, yeah, so the raw water intake, and Kobe briefly touched on it a minute ago, when we were starting to do our side of the work on the VFDs, we went up to the cabinet, we measured to see if the new 700 horsepower VFD was gonna fit in the existing cabinet. We found out that it would, but we also found out at the same time that there were some faults and codes on that drive. And when we looked them up, they were simple things. We were able to work with Shoemaker to get those cleared. We ran that VFD without load on it, and everything runs like it should. They think it checks out that it's gonna run. We also took delivery yesterday of the new 400 horsepower VFD and the 700 horsepower VFD, so we got them both on hand. We got one of them stored at the water plant, the large one, wait to keep until we determine whether that large one's gonna work. We removed the 300 horsepower out of the existing box today and mounted the new one and wired it up, so it's ready to go. Our guys have been up there, they've been laying conduit to run all the cables that were running from the junction box down to the pump, cover it Xylem did confirm to me last week that they shipped the large pump and motor to their New Jersey office for repairs. On Monday, they told me that the timeline was still sticking, that they thought it was gonna meet the 2 weeks that they had told me originally. I did text them yesterday asking for an update, just to be sure. I didn't get a response back yet, so I'm gonna try to hammer that hard tomorrow, make sure that we're good. Shoemaker has also shipped the 400 horsepower motor that was purchased to replace the 300 back to WEG to put the new coupling on it, that way it would mount on our existing pump motor, the trailer. And when they done that, they told me it's, somewhere between a 10 to 12 day timeline. That was mid last week, so we were working on like a 2 weeks on both of them, at some point last week, so we're hoping between one of the two, we will get back next week.
Yeah.
And, we'll be ready to mount it and be ready to go, with an electric.
Right. But the priority is the 600 horse, pump is the priority of putting on that trolley,
Correct.
because the 400 horse curve is close.
Yeah, even if the 400, like you said, is close, it's not all that's gaining reservoir, and we need to have the larger one there, that way we can start gaining back up, cause right now, we're feeding out the second screen. We can still see it on the third screen, but, it's getting to the point where, we're all getting a little itchy.
Yeah.
So we did reach out to United Rental to make sure that if we needed, we would have a diesel pump available. They indicated that the one we had last time is on hold for us, so.
At no cost, they're holding for us at no cost.
And no cost, so within 24 hours, he told me once we decide to pull the trigger, he could have it on site. So if we go into sometime late next week and don't have better news, then we're probably gonna have to make that decision to get it on site.
Okay. All right. But a lot of good news in that as far as making progress. That's something that we hadn't been able to say before. We're making progress on the raw water intake. So on the proposed language to operate within a balanced budget update, I actually went through and I've been working on both, actually finished the draft anyway of the tariff. When I get done with it, I will send it to the board members and it'll be on the agenda to review and as a board approve, and then it'll have to go to our board attorney for a filing with PSC to get PSC to approve it. Before I send it to the board, Todd, I'm gonna need to sit down with you tomorrow, maybe before or after our Bell Engineering meeting. I need to go through a few things with you on the tariff to talk through. Specific to the balanced budget update, it was painfully obvious to me that type of language does not go in a tariff document. It really belongs in a board articles. And after talking with Brian, I learned that our board does not have, although we're governed by statute, the board doesn't have bylaws or articles that I'm used to for a board. So I've been wavering on the concept of even trying to write something like that, because Kentucky statutes actually cover everything we do. And I had the opportunity, well, several of us board members had the opportunity to attend the PSC mandatory training. And that really teed up the piece of all the statutes that govern us. It's probably gonna take me about 6 to 8 months to get through them all, because it's a lot more there than you can imagine. But at this time, I'm not inclined to add that kind of balanced budget language to a tariff. I think it needs to go in something else at this point. As far as the Martin County Water Rules and Regulations with focus on cost language for water meter installations, I have changed the language in the proposed tariff to take it from $1,000 per tap to align with the KRS statute. I wanna say it's 278.00 something. But what that statute basically says in layman's terms is you charge the customer cost, whatever it costs. If it's $200, you charge them $200. If it's $2,000, you charge them $2,000. But it's cost. There's pros and cons in to that approach. Some customers are gonna say, well, you only charge this person $200, now you're charging me $1,000. So there's pros and cons to that. But the statute says you're supposed to charge cost. That's what the statute says. The way I've got it written, it aligns exactly with the statute language. And that's what's gonna come out for the board to approve before Brian would file with PSC. Cause I just don't think it's fair that somebody has to pay $1,000 when it only costs $200, for example. Or somebody has to pay $1,000 when it really costs $2,000. You know, it just doesn't seem right to me. It should be situational driven, huh?
I'm glad I got mine in.
Yeah, so that's where that stands, and I'm sure we'll be able, once you get the revised draft and take a hard look at it, I'm sure there'll be more discussions around it. But that's, something for you all to be thinking about. Todd, do you wanna update us on the flood damage infrastructure status, Kentucky Emergency Management funding updates? I know we talked about it briefly, but, is there anything else you need to talk about specific to FEMA money and?
Yeah, well, 2 things, we talked about the category B, or money, and like you said, we're hoping to have something, and at least a good answer within the next couple of weeks of when that's gonna be here. The 2 other projects that are in there for approval now are the Yellow Creek and Maple Street repairs for the water line. So that has been completed and money that was used out of your maintenance budget. That money is sitting in the same box to be approved, so that would be money that would be directed back to the maintenance account as well.
So what's the sum of category B in those 2 projects? What's that sum?
68 and 24, so,
92 plus the 70?
no, 68, 24, so 92 would be some of those 2.
The 70 was for category B, right? 70,000?
68,
Oh, so those 2. I thought there was 2 projects plus the category B.
No.
Okay. So
well,
92.
Yellow Creek and Maple Street, they're 2 different line locates, so there's 2 projects.
But they sum to 24.
Yes.
Okay, I got you. So that would basically then take our maintenance budget back to, well, it would take it back to about 25%.
Yeah, I need that good math in my head, but.
But we spent 100%, right? And we're 6 months into the year. If we back it up half, then you're at 25%. Yeah, okay.
It's just a rough thing.
And one other thing to note on this is the 292 pump station. That is the station that's completely underwater, and that we had to buy the emergency motor to go back in. We got it in operation, it's the generator. We have since took off that generator, so it's back working off the existing. And we got an engine cost proposal from Bell provided to replace that station completely with an above ground station. FEMA is kicking back on that, saying they won't replace it like that because it wouldn't be as kind. But
The counter argument to that is FEMA has what's called a mitigation approach, and mitigation is get it above grade.
correct. They said that has to be within a certain percentage of what the total cost was. So the guy that I was working with previously before this, I got the call today, was pushing back, saying that we couldn't go back with that underground because that was no longer a valuable option. And it had safety issues with confined space and et cetera. And that was last week, or last Monday, I think he told me he was going to work with that on that all day Tuesday, and they switched him, so I didn't get an update. So, I will try to get an answer on that tomorrow.
Okay. All right. On the master service agreement status, I know I've had Brian doing a lot of other stuff lately. So Brian, I'm sure you haven't had a chance to get to that MSA yet.
I actually looked at it before the meeting.
Oh, you did?
Tim, that I had a couple of things that I wanna go over with you,
Okay.
when it's convenient.
Okay.
Just a couple of questions and what ifs.
Yeah, just call me at your convenience.
Okay.
Yeah, just call me and we'll go through it okay? But that reason why that's important, is once we get the MSA hammered out, the master service agreement is what we will use to get contractors lined up, in the event that we have emergencies. We have someone that we can go to help us get work done. That's what that's all about, and that'll be everything from mechanical, electrical, controls, all those things that we can't self-perform and do ourselves, okay? Fahi, ARC, and KY, W Waters contracts update, the contracts have been fully executed, they're done, and that's for both of those. They've got started on both of them, and tomorrow I'm gonna receive the first email of deliverables that they're gonna ask of us. And I'll work with Todd, and company to get those deliverables to them. So that's in process. Okay, on the update, the board on the legal options for KI scoring impact at MCWD. Stites and Harbison's looking at that right now for a, contingency, basis. So in other words, if we enter into a legal agreement with them, they get a percentage of what we get, but we don't owe them anything if we don't get anything. And, they are looking at it. They don't have an answer for us yet. There's been a lot of information going back and forth, on that. But I'll update the board as soon as I have an answer from them on. But also, one of the things we're looking at is just not from a legal perspective on as far as a complaint or a lawsuit perspective, but they're also looking at it from an appeals perspective. You know, do we have any appeal avenues that we could take outside of litigation? So there's two different things we're looking at in that light. But that's still in process. AWR update the board on the WTP SCADA computer quotes and recommendation. Todd, has there been any progress on that?
We did get some quotes from the IT department. I didn't have it printed off. I was trying to see if she could pull it up right now, but
It was, 1581.
1581 was the purchased computer that met the specs that compared to the $5,000 one that they quoted us in, that we brought to the board last month for the options.
So did you say 1,500?
1,581.
Okay, 1,500.
And then it could be the cost to get the software installed on the computer. And I don't have that number in front of me. I can bring it all up to the next board.
Around $1,400 or $1,700 after I talked to them. I can pull it up.
So how's the patch working? I mean, you got an old computer that you got in there?
It's all working off a computer that we had in the past. They installed the software on there temporarily to come up with this. It's still working at the moment.
Okay, still working at the moment. So what kind of timeline is AWR trying to achieve on this particular issue?
I'd say, within the next, couple months, we won't have this computer going. That way we don't come to an issue where we won't have operations.
Okay, so if my mind's working right, then we should have an idea on FEMA funding within that same timeline?
I would hope so. I'm hoping we'll have something in the next couple of weeks.
Because right now, we don't have a maintenance budget, right? We're 100% spent.
Correct.
So what I'm thinking is, it's up to you, but my thoughts are is we don't spend any more money on the maintenance budget until we have FEMA money to put the money back to be able to spend. That's my thoughts.
But if you're able to
How do we do that?
and you need the computer, is that what you're talking about, for not buying the computer?
Well, what I'm saying is we know we can get the computer cheaper than what they quote a computer at, we know that. And we also know we have to pay for the software to go on that computer that we would buy. We would probably have to pay that company, was there
Southern Flow.
Southern Flow, we pay them for the software, right? And then they offer an install and a on-site.
Because we have the software, so I would be doing the installation and everything on the computer, which was like $1,400. So it'd be total of $3,000 or something like that.
$3,000.
Yeah, so they had already charged us for the remote work that they had to do to get this other computer going. They come back, with their lowest bid at $4,800, and I talked to them and asked them if they could deduct the prices they had already charged us for the other work off of that to get, for this new install. And so that's when he come back, he talked to, you know, some people in the company and come back, I think it was around $1,700 to, you know, complete that
Yeah,
install.
$3,300. Yeah. Board members' thoughts? I mean, it's something we're gonna have to pull the trigger on sooner or later, it's a question of when, it's just a matter of time.
When the fiscal year end,
It's December 31st.
so people will pass back before then. Not gonna make that big a difference on the end of the books.
Right. So you're saying it doesn't matter either way? Yeah,
I mean, how's the audit?
yeah.
And you don't want it to go down.
No, we definitely don't want that.
So the computer that we do have in there, IT came and looked at all of it, and it was a refurbished computer that was at the wastewater plant, and it's not really spec'd out, and it's a refurb from 3 years ago, you know, so. You know, about $3,000-$3,200 would get us in a new computer with software.
So I'm hearing good argument for us to move forward and just gonna spend the money and make it happen, is what I'm hearing from, Colby and Nina, is that right?
I just don't wanna end up in
In a mess.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I think we need to do it.
Okay. All right, let's get a motion, to approve buying the computer and getting the software.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. If I need to sign something, Tom, I'll sign it, I think there was something.
I don't think we have to sign anything to get that, we'll talk with Cassie and make sure we're paying.
Okay.
We'll move forward.
All right, that settles that issue. Update the board for the advertisement, board attorney, replacement, the advertisement went in yesterday, right, Cassandra? Yes, was it yesterday? Yeah.
I think maybe day before yesterday.
Was it day before yesterday? Okay, my days all run together, okay. So that's in process, board members, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So they'll just keep on me hand.
Here's your motion.
I didn't hear you.
You didn't want to.
We might go ahead and order another
He
chair.
said no.
Yeah.
I would even make that motion.
Yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and do that, get that advertisement, but, continue that and board members continue to work your network and, we'll see what comes of that. Update the board for the advertisement for the engineering services. I'm gonna set aside this Saturday to write that. I have not gotten to it yet. But I'll write that document. It'll take me about 8 hours to write it, because it's a fairly lengthy document for engineering services, because it covers the full life cycle of the project. But I'll write that this Saturday, and I'll have that out to the board members to, review once I get that draft done. It'll be Saturday night before you see it. But I'll get out to the board, and then, we can, send me back comments, and I get a final, and then, we can move forward from there. Discuss adding bank statements, receipts, and cash disbursement to board packet. When we were in our PSC training these last couple of days, and we went through controls, one of the things that jumped out at us that were there was, we really don't have anybody on the board that goes into the office and looks at these things, nor is it part of the board packet. And when you look at controls perspective and what PSC recommends and expects, they want, a person to do that, and so.
It's kind of beyond a recommendation, didn't you?
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, it was like you should strongly.
When PSC required us to come, mandated that the board come to, Frankfurt for the hearing, the treasurer that was there actually was a treasurer for the school board also. And they really raked him over the coals, and he was very active in knew, but there was stuff that he, but, no, I mean, the only reason they made me treasurer was cause of
They didn't rake me over the coat.
Yeah.
Now, to start adding every bank statement from every account we have, that's gonna start making these builder packets a couple hundred pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, one other thing I was
You know,
thinking.
that's what I said, I really don't want that sent to my email.
Right. So one of the things I was thinking is if we could have two board members, you know, treasurer and one other, go into the, AWR office, billing office, and look at these statements on a monthly, quarterly basis, and just make sure that everything, lines up. I mean, I don't know how else to do it.
We can,
I don't either.
like you said, maybe we can have everything printed, one copy for two of you to review quarterly, or however you want to do it. Cause I don't want, again, it's gonna make them thick, we're gonna have to redact a bunch of information, it's gonna create a lot of time consuming work, cause if we put it in a board packet, it'll have count numbers, have everything on there.
Take all that stuff off.
Right.
That's gonna create some work.
So that's what I'm thinking, it'd be better for, you know, two board members to go into the office and look at it there versus put it in a board packet. That's my thoughts. Discussion?
Sounds like you're elected for sure.
Yeah, who wants to do it with me?
Well, I think it needs to
Bernie would be
be
real good, he'd get all numbers.
I think it probably would be good though, for the auditor's perspective, to have our sets of eyes initial those bank statements, so they see that we have reviewed them.
Okay, if nobody else wants to do it all. Do you wanna do it?
No.
You wanna do it?
Listen, when I was first on the board, I spent 60 to 70 hours a week.
I don't have that time.
There. And, the girls like me, it's the reason they know me so well, but, they're also glad I'm not there.
Yeah.
My mom takes the.
And I-
cookies.
Yeah,
Okay,
Doesn't she?
so I'll leave it to Vernon and Colby figure out, you know, means and methods, what you wanna do, when you wanna do it, and just work directly with Todd, Cassandra. You know, but the big thing is we're meeting the requirements. That's my biggest
I
concern.
can help you out if you need me to, you know, where you're teaching them.
Okay, great.
It would take a while for anybody to understand it, I think.
Oh, yeah,
I'm sure. Okay,
yeah.
alright, I'll help.
you know, it's just like the electric bills. If you see, we receive a bill for every, little pump thing that's out there, there's I don't know how many that AEP's got, RO,
Well, we get those and
Yeah, we can do it.
I mean, they're like this.
Yeah.
And used to, we had to sign a check for each and every one of those. And that's, I don't wanna go back into that stage.
No.
I've been there.
I mean, they even, as I understood, I mean, you all correct me if I'm wrong, but they were even saying like this list, $6.03 for oil, we should see a receipt.
Right.
I mean, $6.06 for a 5-pack of fuses, okay, I don't really have time for all that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, they were pretty picky.
Yeah, so,
I think that if we go in once a quarter and we create a test and we pull 5 bills from each of the months of that quarter, and we just verify that those 5 payments exist on the bank statement, and we have receipts for those.
then you
And we can exercise our fiduciary responsibility.
right, that's right.
Yeah, that's what they.
I don't know if we want to
fiduciary
look at every
responsibility.
single one, but if we test 5 items each month, I think that's showing that we're trying to do
Okay,
that.
what about,
I think if you come in, you should have to check everyone.
Well, that's-
I do.
And so we trust when we verify you've done that correctly in our test, you know, if we catch one, that was missed or something, then
No.
we'll have to look at all of them, but, yeah.
I like that, and
even the IRS.
She said to trust but verify.
trust but verify,
I
right?
mean, can you imagine?
So let's keep the meeting
Yes, I
going.
can imagine. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So let's keep the meeting going. So on the, update the board on the billing office lease agreement status. We're month to month right now. We're evaluating. I've reached out to some folks to help identify potential properties. With the mindset that we could get AWR and the billing office under one roof.
What about that property where Madison Blue left next to you, with that?
I was told, I think somebody said that the liquor store rented it out.
voted in,
Well, I knew they were wet, but I didn't know it was.
They just got approved for their
you're
license.
allowed, they're allowed
Allowed
two,
hard liquor, huh?
Well,
they're allowed 2 liquor stores.
So,
Well, I'm happy now, didn't
Yeah, you got 2 in Warfield.
Yeah, but, well, I know Walgreens had liquor in there, but, I mean.
The one across the creek from my house.
Yeah, right on the border before you get to the swimming
No,
pool.
but I mean, there's no hard liquor store in Inez, is there?
Right before on the border, yeah, right before on the border where it's at the called Tobacco Plus, it's like right where the pool is.
Tells you how often I.
Not that I know.
I mean, I don't keep up with it, but
You know where it's at.
It's right on the corner, I mean, it's not like I shop there.
Oh, yeah,
It's right on the corner, it's right next to my grandma's house, come on now,
I
it's
built
like
a
right
swimming
there.
bridge in my backyard.
Flew around
It's called
Chris,
Tobacco
right?
Plus, but they sell hard liquor in
No.
there. That's Jackson County's little shop. The man that
moving
owns,
on.
the man that's doing Tobacco Plus is the one that's
Yeah.
got the other one.
So we'll
Yes.
continue to evaluate the properties, and once we have something to discuss, we'll bring it at that time, but in the meantime, we'll stay month to month until such time that we can, identify. Either there is a property that works for us or there's not, and if there's not, then ask the board for us to just renew the lease we have.
Check out your library.
That's on the list to go look at.
I think they were offering 1,500, wasn't
It would need some work to make it work for our applications, the problem.
It'd be great if we could get that and turn it into a utility complex and have the land beside of it, and at some point build the storage and stuff that we need for the facility,
Right.
that would be great.
Yeah,
I mean, that would be quite a bit of work.
it'd need quite a bit of
The
work.
land right next to it.
So, the next item on the list, P, Board Attorney addressing the demand letter from Martin County Fire Chief. Brian, do you wanna touch on that? I mean,
Tim, I saw that on the agenda and wondered what in the world that was. I
so,
haven't
so,
seen it. If you sent it to me, I've looked over it.
no, what it was, you responded to the fire chief's, I call it demand letter. He demanded that we vacate within 30
Oh,
days. And then you,
the turkey guy.
yes.
It's not Inez, it's Turkey.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Turkey Creek.
Yeah, that was pickle.
So you crafted a response letter, went back to him and provided a copy of the lease and just, basically it's a cease and desist letter in essence, right?
Yeah, essentially, I basically sent him a letter and said, quit bothering us about this. And haven't heard anything since, and I've also communicated with Ms. Phelps, the county attorney, and made her aware of the circumstances, and she assured me that she had her back,
Okay.
if he approached her.
Okay, perfect.
What is their problem with it?
He's one that came in at the Constable Mills from over Turkey, that he come in and approached us about getting that, the property that we have that's over there.
Like a 50-year-old pump
It's
station.
an old pump station that he wants us to get our equipment out of so they can use it. And the fiscal court has a perpetual easement on the property that we've taken advantage of all these years. And basically I explained to him, we don't have to vacate it. The fiscal court's got this perpetual easement that we're taking advantage of, and I didn't tell him this, but in my conversations with Melissa, it's planned that at the next fiscal court meeting, they will vote to assign that easement to us. So we won't have to get the fiscal court's blessing.
I had told him he needed, he approached me, one evening and, about, getting it. He said that, it was already, had reverted back to, he had control of it, and I said, well, the best thing I can do. I said, cause I'm just, he said, well, you're on the board. I said, yes, I am on the board, but, Alliance actually runs the show, and the best thing I can think we could do is to send them a letter and tell them to get, and they'll do whatever, So, that's probably how you come, you got.
So you prompted that letter.
We're gonna blame you, Chuck.
Well, hey,
All right, so.
I was going over my expertise. I don't know if we own that, or he said that when we quit using it, that it reverted back to the original owner, and the original owner of the property said that he had it. So but if fiscal court has an easement on the property or retains it, then, I don't know what kind of deals the fiscal court have worked out with whoever owns the property.
but we're still using it.
The fire department now owns the property, but they take it subject to the existing easement. And that's what he doesn't understand.
Right. So what, you know, as far as
So
I'm
better you
concerned,
explain it to him than me.
I tried.
so as far as I'm concerned, it's,
Is the heat not running?
we responded to the request and they have our answer and, we'll go from there. All right, Chairman, update the board on the Bell Engineering status and upcoming meeting. As Todd had mentioned earlier, we have a meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m. with Bell Engineering. That meeting's focus is going to be to talk about a couple things. One is, the Collins Creek project that was finished and then suffered, erosion damage. Bell Engineering sent me a design to review and approve. I reviewed it. It did not meet the KYTC specification requirements for those types of repairs. I sent it back to them, marked up. They've agreed to those design changes and they've implemented those changes both in their drawings and specs. They sent it back to me, but now the problem is they didn't address all the areas that were impacted by the storm. So now they're drawing up and drawing up the repair force that incorporates all of the impacted areas. So I should have that tomorrow to look at. If that looks good, then we'll move forward with the warranty work at no cost to the district to have that fixed right. So that's one item we're gonna talk about. Another item is the 292 relocation for the KYTC bridge work. Brian's reviewed the agreement and blessed it to be signed. I've reviewed it. I don't take any exception to it. The board has already approved the project. So tomorrow it's just a matter of me signing the contract spec books. But the board has approved the project previously. And that'll move forward with, the board's already approved Boca's bid for that work at, I wanna say 94K, whatever it was. And I did review the design on that project. I marked it up. It had some issues and they've addressed those comments, so we should be good for that. One of the drivers in that is Boca's gotta be out there and working before the August of this year, and if they're not, then KYTC will approve that bridge work. So there's a timeline to have this all done. The other item I'm gonna talk to them about is the FEMA generators, design that's past due. The Otto Brown design that's past due, the cold water line replacement design that's past due, the Route 40 East design that's past due. And the turkey tank is also past due.
Turkey tank, and we need to talk to them about the 292 cylinder project.
Okay. So those designs, they owe to us for review. It's my intent to review all those designs. Hopefully they're good and I don't have to mark them up too much, but if not, I'll mark them up and get them back to them. And then the other thing is going to be, is I've asked that their decision maker for Bell, so I'm assuming it's their president, will be there. I wanna talk to them about expectations, schedules, all those things that's driving these projects and why. And I plan tomorrow to be candid about, we're gonna go out, we're gonna solicit, we're gonna hire at least one, maybe more engineers to assume future work. And I'm just gonna speak frankly, I shouldn't have to put my engineering hat on and do engineering reviews of another engineering firm's work. That's ridiculous. I shouldn't have to do that. But I will, because I don't trust them, frankly. So that's why I'm doing it.
I couldn't be here at the last meeting. I was on a work trip and one of the guys with me is from Whitesburg. And he told me their water district in Letcher County had to fire Bell over similar issues. They were delayed and some of the work that was signed off on wasn't up to code.
So that's what our problem has been all along, that's why we're in the shape that we're in, is because the engineering firms comes in, they lay us stuff out, and then they do it ever how they want. There's no inspections on it, nobody that knows really what they was looking at up to code, and that's why you have 12-inch pipe run for a while until it runs into an 8-inch, and it goes back up to a 10-inch, and then
know, that's how you get stuff like that.
So, you know, I look for positive things come out of tomorrow's meeting, but I also look for, you know, candor and truth, you know, be told, so. Moving on, AWR update, the board on status of parts for clarifier number 2 and funding through the Big Sandy Ad for the remaining raw water intake project. And so if the board remembers, there was remaining funds from Army Corps of Engineers and AML, and there was what, Todd, $451,000? And that $451,000, AWR and Bell and myself, participated in basically a bullet list of what we want to get accomplished with those remaining funds. And so have you heard from Big Sandy Ad specific to,
I emailed Joe Thursday, today's Thursday, I emailed him Tuesday, and I've got no response. I wanted to know where he was at with getting the matching funds so we can move forward with that, and I've got no response. I tried to call in the office yesterday for him and for Matt, got no response.
yeah. And just so everyone's aware, board and public, we're seeing that common theme from Big Sandy Ad on our other projects. I've got a project that we'll get into on the sanitation side, where the engineer's actually starting to do, Big Sandy Ad's work of making sure that all of the funding, the KIA funding documents are all done and signed and submitted. That's normally not the engineer's job. So that's happening as well, but, we'll work through it. So right now, we don't have an answer on that because we were waiting on $126,000 KIA,
The numbers sound right, yeah.
for that $451,000. We have everything except the match, the
Just need the
$126,000.
matching dollars, and, you know, when we originally started, he acted like it was a simple process.
Yeah, no big deal, month, it's done.
To go through and get the remaining funds, but that was 6 months, maybe 6 months ago.
Okay,
And on the other part of that one was the clarifier too, we've already talked about, and the remaining money for the current scope of work we're doing at the, intake, which is the VFD and all that work. We should have remaining funds available on that since we ended up having to do a lot of this in-house since we couldn't, everything kinda got messed up. So there should be more funds to use out of that, but I don't have a problem with that today to say. It all depends on whether or not we ship the other VFD back or not.
now remind me, the board authorized in parts $14,000, was it, in parts? And then there was like, was it 34,000 total for parts and labor for clarifier number 2?
It was like 24,000 total.
Was it 24,000 total?
Can't remember off the top of my head.
I'm just trying to
It
figure out.
was somewhere around there, yeah, it was less than 30, I think.
The board authorized to buy the materials, it was long lead time. So my question is once the materials come in, what's the labor cost gonna be?
It was all that included in that 24,000,
Yeah, but we bought the materials, so that would be, if the material's 14, then the labor would only be 10?
Yeah, I thought that, I would go back and check, but I think you authorized the whole thing, cause we was gonna use that $21,000 to take back.
From lead survey, yeah, you're right, you're
That
right.
money's still sitting there waiting.
Yeah, you're right. We took the lead survey money to fix clarifier 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Alright, okay. Alright, the last item, consider motion to have a special meeting Tuesday, August the 12th, 2025, to go into executive session to interview attorneys. When the ad went out a couple days ago, we called out August the 12th would be the interview date. And so I'm asking the board to approve Tuesday, August 12th as a special meeting that will be for that purpose.
Make the motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? All right, I have other new business on here. I didn't have any other new business to speak of at that time, so I'm not aware of anything. Consider a motion to convene into closed executive session. Is there a need for that?
No.
Okay. Guest speakers, I understand we can have guest speakers, but we can't vote on anything in a special meeting, is that right?
It's my understanding.
That's my understanding. Is that your understanding, Brian? We can have them, but we can't vote on anything. So do we have any guest speakers?
Correct.
No guest speakers?
Madison, you didn't wanna speak?
Not right now, I got things coming, but not today. You're lucky, you're lucky.
One thing I wanted to bring out, I don't know if I missed that last meeting, you all talked about that video about how to read the new meters?
Oh, Cassie did.
Cassie actually created it, and I emailed it to all the board, but apparently Vernon's the only one that got it. And
didn't get it.
And he responded back, and then after he responded, nobody else happened, I went and looked, and for some reason it undelivered for the rest of you. She actually posted it today to our website under the customer service section, and it's also, we put it on our Facebook page, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna share that around to different social media platforms.
That's
Yeah,
what
that
I
would
wanted
be-
to do,
My
let's get the
toolkit.
word out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like a TikTok.
Okay.
Gotta reach anywhere.
Listen, I'll screen record, I don't care.
Uh,
All right, so can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Anybody needs to step and get a fresh air.
You need to bring us a bunch of fans and sit in the microphone. next.
Cooling system.
Yeah.
I'm about to pull Richard Mooney and go mess with the
Right,
thermostat, but
40 minutes.
no, it won't help, I've been told.
I have a break.
You need a break, you wanna take it now? We'll just take a break now?
Yeah, I need a break.
All right, let's take a break, cause it's
Yeah.
7:16 now, we'll break until 7:30, 14 minutes?
Yeah.
All right.
5 minutes.